Going through Pinterest can be, and I'm sure you know this, it can be dangerous because you just get so many ideas and so many things you want to do.
Hello, darlings. Welcome back. I'm doing a fun little project, which I think we all kind of want to do all the time. I'm raiding my Pinterest board. So what that entails is kind of pulling some of those things I just keep wishing I could buy and figuring out how to kind of sort of make something similar for myself. So we're going to go to the thrift store. We're going to get some goodies. We're going to do some arts and crafts. We're going to have some fun. So if that sounds remotely interesting, stick around. Stay tuned. Okay, so at the thrift store, I went to Community Thrift in the Mission here in San Francisco. It's very much a community thrift store. Everything does go to charity. As far as I know, it's not for profit. There were people there doing kind of volunteer work, so it's one of my favorites. And I picked up a few things. Definitely some for my Pinterest board. As always, when you're at the thrift store, not not everything was on my list. But for my Pinterest project, I found these. They're perfect. They're fake suede Christian Siriano for Payless. R.I.P. Payless. They've seen better days, but they're actually weirdly comfortable. They were super inexpensive, and they're the perfect canvas. So these are going to be super fun for my project. And then I was thinking, if I make the shoes, I should make a matching bag. And I went and checked out the bags. The bags were weirdly expensive, and I couldn't justify buying one just for an art project. Shoes, I don't have any just sort of spare shoes sitting around that make a great canvas for my project. Bags, I'm pretty much guaranteed to find something in my closet. I haven't looked in there yet, but we will find something to continue this project with. Another project that isn't necessarily on my Pinterest board, but I think will be, I just have to do a little digging, is I was taking a lovely little shower this morning. Noticed that my spa pillow, my lovely little pillow for when I take, a long, luxurious bath, is looking a little worse for wear. And I wanted to re-sew it. I thought as a great little sewing project, that would be super fun. But I didn't want to just put kind of the same white cotton waffle weave, I think is what's called, back on it. I thought, hey, vintage toweling. Some terry cloth would be great. They didn't have any vintage towels, vintage terry cloth at the thrift store, except for this one. So I did pick up this guy. So what I'm thinking is I will either just dig through my fabric stash to find another one, or I might actually raid my my vintage dish towel collection. I actually use vintage napkins and dish towels every day, so I might sacrifice one of those, which fine by me, because I've got a green one that I think would be a good match, but we'll see. We'll see. So this is the starting project, so starting part of the project. Thinking just one on the front, one on the back, put the pillow back in, put some loops. Seems fairly simple. So those are going to be kind of my 3 projects. I think that shoes from the Pinterest board. I'm going to look for spa pillows on Pinterest, see if there's any sort of inspiration. And also, really, depending on how my shoes come out, making a bag, which means thrifting my own closet. But a few of the things that I grabbed that obviously were not on my list. I got How to Sew a Button by Erin Breed. There's a series of these. They're very gendered, which is a little odd, but it's other nifty things your grandmother knew. So I'm adding this to my homemaking book collection. Could be very cute, very fun. I found Design Sponge at Home by Grace Bonney. I'm in the middle of a home reno, so very much into spaces, interiors, paints, colors, lighting, all of the things. So we'll see what this has in store. And then, super fun, this vintage embroidery. See, look at this crying onion. I don't have anything to put a crying onion on, but like, it's so cute. So she doesn't look very happy to be doing this embroidery, but I'm very excited about it. All of the, is it very basic embroidery 101, which I don't really need, but there's tons of the transfers. They're all ready to roll, and, you know, instructions and things to know. And I don't know, maybe this will, I don't know. There's 110 transfers. This is just adorable. I mean, look at this whale. Come on. I have nothing to put these things. Oh my gosh, the whale right here. Whoa. Okay. Well, let's just add that project to the list. We're going to find a shirt. That's exactly what we're going to do. When I thrift my closet for a bag to go with my shoes, I'm going to pull out one of the shirts that I have cropped. So I've done that a couple times now, where I've gotten really cool men's shirts and I've kind of cropped them and made them fit me. I am going to take one and embroider it. So hang out with me while I embark on this weird little hodgepodge of projects, and let's see how we can thrift and craft our Pinterest board. So this is the Pinterest board in question. You'll notice a lot of like 90s glam, Baroque, colorful, and gold speckled situations. It's just a vibe that I'm going with these days, and there's just something about it. So I really want to use this mosaic motif and these jewels as my inspiration for the shoes and for the bag. I also am taking a little bit of inspiration from Afraid Upcycling. She just built herself this little craft kit of a bag and then customized it with brooches and paint, and I'd really like to be doing some of that too. I have an extensive thrifted bag collection, and I knew I was going to be able to find myself one. So I gathered all of my materials, including this shirt that I cropped on this channel a few weeks ago, and this is the bag that I chose. I just thought it was a great starting canvas. Yeah, I'm not going to use these, but I was really excited to have all 4 projects ready to roll. For the shirt embroidery, I decided to go with a little bit of a garden theme, something really whimsical, not the crying onion, even though it is adorable. But I chose this little girl with her watering can and a few flowers and a few other fruit motifs, and I was really excited to get started. You'll see my first stumbling block here in about 3, 2, 1. Yeah,
it didn't transfer. I think these transfers are just so old that maybe the ink has sort of lost its potency. Either way, it just really didn't do the trick. It's all right though, I have the skills, so I grabbed a water-soluble pen and I just went to town freehanding this little snail guy. For the shoes, I knew I really did want to focus on the heel, just as a nice sturdy canvas. And I wanted to go with that mosaic motif that I kept seeing. I didn't really have too definitive of a plan, but I knew I wanted this kind of central motif and then some, just kind of mosaic tile looking paint with a few actual three-dimensional jewels thrown in for good measure.
So Pinterest project update. Okay, so the pens, which I hoped would work, they're fabric markers. And since this is fake suede, I thought instead of using my leather paint, I would use fabric paint. The pens did not work. I mean, they're there. If I was doing like little graffiti action, it might work. They're just sort of soaking in, and they all look black. It didn't matter which color I was using, they all came out black. But I kind of knew it wasn't going to work. So today I went to the art supply store and I grabbed just one pot of gold actual fabric paint, and this is working. So what that means is we're going to have to put this Pinterest project on hold until I can get back to the fabric store? Art supply store, which isn't going to be for a few days, but that's okay. We now know what does work. Little bummed that doesn't work, but that's okay. While I was at Scrap today, I did find a few of these really big, they're called Montes, I believe. Or maybe not. These could just be gluebacks. I don't know. These big rhinestones. I had wanted circular ones, but this is what they had. And the color red is perfect, and I'm very much warming up to this shape. So I think they're actually going to be perfect. I got a whole handful, so we'll see if I can embellish more of the shoe than just the heel. But this project is going to be on hold for a few days. The other ones, I finished my shirt that's hanging out over there in the corner. I still have my purse. I thrifted my closet for a purse to embellish. So excited about this one. I've started pulling out some other little pieces that I want to put on it. So we could do that. Or the spa pillow. Now with the spa pillow, I last showed you a couple of vintage washcloths that I was considering using that I had found at the thrift store for this purpose. They were just feeling a little off. They're in such good condition. I actually kind of just want to keep them and use them as washcloths. And I did decide to go through my already existing vintage dishware toweling stash. And I found this pink and green hand towel, very small bath towel. It's always had this little stain on it ever since I got it. And it's a little faded. But here's the thing. This is for the bath. It doesn't have to look perfect. I can cut off the stained bit. And this can have a longer life, I think, than if I actually kept it as a towel, because it does get kind of beat up in the washer. So I could start on another project. I should start on another project, but also there are a lot of chores I should be doing today. You know, when you just want to be crafting, but there are chores to do. The endless struggle, right? So maybe what I do like a responsible adult, I am one of those. It's very weird. Maybe I do put away the craft supplies for today until I can get to the art supply store and get more paint, or until I've got a much more extended period of time to get things. But now that I'm looking at it, So what I did was I unpicked the old spa pillow to create a pattern. And I could just very easily put it together. I saved the zipper. I saved the suction cups. I've got the whole pattern. Do I just cut out the pattern at least? I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do a little compromise. I'm going to cut out the pattern for the spa pillow while I've got this little cardboard craft situation on the floor of my very messy office. It is just acting as the store-all during the renovation. So I'm going to put away the pens. I'm going to put the shoes in a safe place to dry. I'm going to cut out the pieces for my spa towel and then do the adult things of my chores and my work. That's how I feel about it anyway. Okay. See you soon. Okay, I could have sworn that in this big box of vintage trim that I have, that I had piping. To the point where I was at scrap today and there was a big roll of pink piping that would be perfect, and I didn't get it. I left it for someone else because I was like, oh no, I have piping at home. Guess what? I don't know where it is. I don't know if I don't think I used it. I don't know if I just misplaced it. I don't know. Maybe I never had it and it was a fever dream. I don't know. But turns out I don't have any piping. So what I'm thinking, actually let me look, I think I may have just found it. I just found it and it's plain white. Oh my gosh. I literally just had to stop looking for it. Okay, so I have plain white piping, which I can use. But because I was getting frustrated at looking for the piping, I made game time decision and was like, oh, you know what would be super cute, super girly, perfect for my new 50s bathroom is instead of piping, if I use this sweet, sweet little lace that I have as a border. Right? Look at this. How cute would that be? Right? Like, this project was pretty straightforward, but I do learn something from every single new sewing project that I take on, and what I learned from this one is that if you cut terry cloth, you can expect to be covered in it, and your floor covered in it, and your dog covered in it for the next several days. It was just like snow. Snow, glitter, it was everywhere. But really, this project was super, super easy, and I highly recommend it. Even if you don't have a spa pillow to repair, just making yourself one. I'm absolutely in love with being able to use this, stained old vintage bath towel and give it a new life. And it weirdly took me a while to remember how to put it in an invisible zipper, and I did get the lace sort of tied up in one of the suction cup ties. No project is ever perfect, but this one was really fun besides all of the terry cloth glitter all over my house. But yeah, I highly recommend making yourself one. Incredibly simple, incredibly rewarding. may have not, or totally did, go a little overboard at the art supply shop, but supplies were acquired. So got a True Red. I did get a couple other pens because I want to see if a pen can work, and these are more metallic, so we'll give those a whirl. And then I got some leather paint. This is faux suede, but I also want to do my purse upcycling project. So I thought there's no way this won't work on faux suede. Also, I want it for another project. So I got Midnight Green and Riot Red. They're both a little pearly, little sheen. Got a whole bunch of brushes because all of my craft supplies are put away in storage. I don't know what I was thinking. When you're working on your house or you're cleaning a thing or you're cleaning out the closet or whatever, and it's just this huge mess and you get into I don't care, put it all away, let's get it stored kind of thing. I, for whatever reason, was like, yeah, just put the craft supplies in storage. I'm not going to need those for months. So now I know for a fact that I'm buying doubles of some things, which I don't enjoy doing. But since I am actively working on projects, they're going to get used. It's just where we are today. What other colors did I get? Oh, I got a really nice sapphire blue and Pacific blue. I have plans to do lots of embellishment of clothing projects coming up. So not all of these are going to be for this one project. What else did I get? Oh, yeah, some soda ash to do some dyeing of clothing. So I was going through my mending pile this weekend. There are quite a few things that they either need the dye to be just sort of rejudged because some blacks are fading, or I really want to recolor a few things. So I want to do this. Also, apologies for the sniffling. My allergies are horrendous these days. Just remember, this is sort of where we ended the other day. Let me show you our inspo photo again. Doing this, crafting my Pinterest board project has taken much longer than I expected. There's been a lot going on. It's just taken a while, but it's also made it so that there is now a long laundry list of other projects that I want to do that I keep in my brain. Be like, oh, I can get that done. Oh, I do. Things have been crazy. I've got a lot going on, so I don't have a ton of crafting time this week. I definitely didn't last week. Next week I can't see me. So I've got to sort of tamp it down. I'm allowed to do these shoes, and if I get to the bag today, that would be great. But I've already done my shirt, and I've already done my spa pillow. I needed to, for this video purposes anyway, stop it here. But yeah, going through Pinterest can be, and I'm sure you know this, it can be dangerous because you just get so many ideas and so many things you want to do. But yeah, my list of future projects is now, it's exponentially long, and I am excited to have things to do. But like I said, most of my craft supplies are tucked away in storage during this house renovation, which isn't going to be complete until like the end of the summer. We'll see. All right, I'm going to get to painting, see if I can get these shoes completed today so that they have some time to dry. I'm actually really excited to get started on this, so let's go.
For this project, I only had the vaguest of ideas of what I wanted to do. I genuinely was going off of vibes, just what I had in my junk craft jewelry box and what seemed fun and interesting at the moment. Honestly, I did not think about this too hard, and I think that's why I love it so much now that it's finished. It was fun, it was playful, I just enjoyed myself while making it, and I love this. I absolutely will be wearing this. Thank you so much for hanging out with me while I mined my Pinterest board. I really had so much fun with this, and I'm really glad I tackled every project. Hopefully it brings you a little inspiration. I'd love to know what Pinterest board projects you've got kicking around in the back of your noggin and why you haven't done them, and when you are going to do them. Let me know in the comments for sure. Until I see you next time, stay creative, stay crafting, stay pinning. I'll see you soon. Thanks so much. Bye.